Hello, good morning.
Morning.
All right, while I'm getting myself organized, everyone drop a win in the chat from this week. Team, personal, anything, drop a win. No wins. Everyone's having a crap week. I had an artist step way out of her comfort zone and create a reel and share it on platforms. That's oh my god. Is that Sam? Is that you? iPhone. I don't know who iPhone is. Who are you? That is Sam. Oh, there you are. One of our new artists, only $20 away. It has been a crap week. Yeah, Jen. Jen's having a rough one. Okay, so let's talk about the Belief podcast. A lot of you, when you messaged me, said I really needed that. So does anyone want to come off mute and kind of talk about their takeaway from that? Or what like they liked about it? Did you really listen to it? Because that was the homework. I'm not believing any of you right now.
I'll unmute. I listened to it. I thought it was just, yeah, the whole belief system. I took away from it that I feel like that's where I'm lacking. I'm not a believer in podcasts and that type of stuff. It's just, I'm like, it's always fluff. But then when I do listen to a good one, I always say I need more of this. I should be incorporating more of this because this is definitely what I'm lacking, especially when I'm hitting those lulls or I'm like, I'm too overwhelmed. I don't have enough time. I feel like I need more of that. So that's what I took away from it.
Mm-hmm. When you guys were listening to it, you can put this in the chat. Were most of you thinking about how this relates to yourself, or were you thinking about how this can relate to your downline or teammates?
I would say for me, a little bit of both. Sorry, Bonnie. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely days like this week, I probably should be listening to stuff like this. You know what I mean? And I'm with you, Monique. I feel like it's fluff. I'd rather just get to the meat of stuff, but I do think it's helpful. But I do agree, a lot of the team, I did kind of put them there. Do they really believe? Definitely I related to my team more than myself.
Okay. All right, so I had you list that podcast comes into play in two ways. The first way was to
wow, so pretty.
Sam. So pretty. Okay, so they came into play two ways. First was for you guys to prove to me that you would do the homework to get a result, right? That you would do something to get here. And I'm going to talk about that team-wise. So that brings up the second part of the training, which is going to be how to instill that in a downline and how to communicate with them one-on-one and how to get a result. So I do not believe not all of them. Okay. First of all, we are going to talk about setting boundaries. If you are my direct, you might have just saw what I posted in my team chat. If not, I am going to share that when we're done. All right, let me see if I can just copy and paste it. But I had a one-on-one call and with Jackie, and we just kind of talked about how a lot of things can be super overwhelming, right? I know with all of the new artists lately and the artist's birthday, there are so many things that my inbox is insane. And talking with Jackie and just talking about how you need to make people respect you in your time is going to really bring your business to huge different places that you didn't even think. So you need to set, no matter how big you guys are, right? If you have a team of 5, if you have a team of 500, you need to set family rules and boundaries. And what that looks like is telling them where, how, and when they can get a hold of you. Okay. I'm available. You need to have times you are unavailable. You need to have a time where there's no response coming from you. 48, 24 hours, no matter what it is, there needs to be a time. And then give them the resources on where they can go for things. If it's your group chat, if it's your team page, they need to know that you're not available, but this is available for you to find the resource that you're looking for you to find the spot that you need this. So if you need this, go here. And then one-on-one calls. I know some of us do this and some of us don't, right? But criteria of getting a one-on-one call or a, spot with Jen or a spot with Bonnie where you want to pick their brain, you need to, 1, be active. If you are not active in your business, if you are not at $300, then they are not dedicated enough to their business to earn your time. But maybe it's them struggling to get active, right? That's another thing that someone's like, I'm trying to get active and I can't. So then what you're going to do is you are going to give them an assignment prior to scheduling a call with them. And that is going to be, they need to go through, I don't know if you guys have ever looked, but in the Glow Getters unit, let me see if I can pull that up quick. I think it's unit 6. They give an exact stamp or exact little thing of things that you should be doing daily. Let me see what for sure so I can tell you what unit that is. It's a list of daily operations that you can be doing that are gonna move the pin on your business, and they need to go through every one of those steps, and then they can schedule a call on you to earn your time. It's guide 6, how to stay consistent. It's the first one. It says daily checklists. They need to do everything on that checklist in order to, like I said, get your time. So now we have, I had another little note here. It's okay to leave a message unread, you guys. I have left messages unread in my inbox. Do not, I know someone said, I think it might have been Sam was saying in the chat that she is trying to, put aside time where she just does messages. Don't even open them. If it's something, that it's a question from a teammate and it is, in a time where you are not in that mindset to talk about something or talk about business wise, do not even open the message. Leave it unread. And then during your time, when you set aside to open your messages and respond, that is when they get a response from you. Okay, now rolling into our one-on-one, right? Where we start helping people. And like I said, some of you might not do one-on-ones and that's okay, but maybe you want to, or maybe you don't know how. For the longest time, I never did one-on-ones because I didn't know how. I never had a one-on-one, so I didn't know what they consisted of, how to do it, when to do it, what to do. So bringing back that podcast, right? I always give, when I'm doing a one-on-one, I will give them homework. So yes, they're active, right? Awesome, perfect. Now I still need to know what we're talking about and where they're struggling. So in the podcast, she talked about obstacles, right? What obstacles are keeping you from your end goal? So they need to have, first of all, okay, where did I go? Okay. Oh, before we do that, before you even start your one-on-one, you need to have an allotted time. You have 30 minutes, you have 15 minutes, whatever it might be. That is the time that they have dedicated to them. And you need to make sure that they know that before you start. So we don't want a bunch of jibbery jabber. We don't want them complaining about, life stuff. We are there to talk business and they need to know that. So you can start up by saying, all right, I'm so excited. Let's do this. We have 30 minutes until my next call or 30 minutes until my next thing. So making sure they know their allotted time. Make sure they have what they're struggling with. So they have what is going on, what are they struggling with in their business, and what are the obstacles keeping them from getting there. So once you have that, you can start your one-on-one call. Even if it's, it doesn't have to be a Zoom, it can be a phone call, whatever you want. And you aren't there to problem solve their life. You're there to guide them and to help them and set belief in what they're struggling with. And that's where that podcast comes in. If you feel like it's something that they're super duper capable of, maybe that's their homework, to get a Zoom call with you or a one-on-one. It is sending them that podcast to listen to, and then they need to come up with their, what they're struggling with, what the obstacles are. And then that's where you guys come together and talk about ways to get away from that. So maybe their goal is to get more parties. So what are your obstacles in between you and getting more parties, right? I'm not posting about it. I am not reaching out about it. I am not showing my hostess rewards. I am not doing this. So how do we get away? So that's where their podcast comes in. Here's your prescription, right? This is what you're going to do. You need to start doing those things that are your obstacles. And how do you do that? So then you kind of talk out, plan out, do that type of thing. So there's your one-on-one call, right? And I also have a little note here that says, you're never wasting your time doing a one-on-one call with a runner. If anyone in our leadership chat, or anyone that is, dedicated to their business, and you go over that 30 minutes, that is okay. If someone is there to, you guys know, if you have those runners and you have the people that are there to complain, poor me, bad me, I don't know what to do in my business, help me. That's where you're going to set the timer for 15 minutes. Even honestly, I have done 15 minutes. If you have a runner, you're going to make a game plan to get them to their next rank or their next goal, whatever it might be. And you're going to, get there. Okay. I see only look at messages during a time frame. Do I only do that for customers too? Yes, Sam. I only look at messages for customers from 7 to 8 at night. That's the only time I respond to customers. And do you set a timer for the call? Yes, totally set a timer. You're telling them you have these 30 minutes, so that's where you are going. You need to keep yourself accountable. Okay, let me go back to my notes here. All right. Last thing that goes with the family rules and accountability and that type of thing is we need to remember that our team is not everything, right? This might be some people, the first time I heard this, I thought it was impossible, but after Jackie has instilled it in my brain and has talked about it so much, that your business is 20% your team, 80% is your personal sales. Your team should be 20% of your time. Okay. So what that might be 30 minutes for some of you, like Kirby is working full time. That might mean she's only spending 30 minutes on her team. And that is okay. Because like I said, you need to have family boundaries. You need to, if you have these boundaries and you have this time slot and you have this schedule set up, 30 minutes can be more than enough, because you're teaching how to utilize resources, right? You're not getting these piddly questions. You're not wasting time on the fluff stuff. If they know where, when, and how to find stuff, they're going to do it on their own. So I'm getting back to my 30 minutes a day, whatever that makes, or 20% of your day should be, or your working time, it should be team stuff. So, but that doesn't necessarily, what do you want your team to be doing? What do you want your team to be focusing on? That's where you need to be working your business yourself, right? If you want your team sales higher, you need to have your sales higher. If you want your team to be growing more, adding more artists, you need to be talking about the artist program. They see and do what you do, because every single one of your downlines is following in your footsteps. If they don't see Jen doing, reels, they're not going to do reels. If they don't see Monique doing, being active in your beauty group, they're going to be like, oh, I guess that's not real important in my business. If you know, so this is where we have a kind of a challenge thing that I have been doing with Jackie. And what it is I'm done wasting my time challenge. Okay. So I am going to share my screen so you can see this. Okay, I'm done wasting my time. What you're doing, you're posting a reel or a TikTok a day. Maybe you're not on, so maybe that's a post, or maybe that's a something on Facebook. It doesn't necessarily have to be a reel or a TikTok. Post on your personal page, always something that invites conversation. Once a week, you need to be doing that. So this is weekly, right? We go by weekly. I'm asking one person a week to host a class, or maybe that is, you're, talking to one customer a week if you're just on Instagram, things like that. I'm listening to a podcast daily. I know this is a struggle for a lot of us because it feels like fluff stuff. But maybe that is also, your type of personal development where you feel fits most in your life. For some people, it might be a spa day. For some people, it might be, scrolling Instagram, just giving yourself that time to have a little bit of personal development. Stories every day about the makeup, no matter what it is. Jackie reminds me this all the time. She puts a time lapse of her doing her makeup. It can be an old video, it can be a new video, whatever it is. You might have noticed yesterday I posted one in my stories, super sped up, and just said, I feel so much better when I'm ready for the day. You are showing your team that you are working your business daily and adding those little things in daily. And so they're going to do the same thing. Team building. I'm going to go through and send a kind text to everyone out of your team. Pick 3 people to either send a Starbucks gift card, share their reel, post on their page, recognize them somehow. And it doesn't matter if it's a direct artist somewhere in your team. Showing appreciation for those girls and just going the little extra mile for something can mean even more to people than having a one-on-one call. I think that's it. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Go back and okay. All right. Any other questions, you guys? Anything we have that you're like, what? Who's going to set some family boundaries? I know it's what I was like having like a panic attack when I was sending that and typing it this morning, but after I sent it, it's okay, right? It is okay, and it needs to happen in your business because you are putting yourself first and your business first, and in the end, it's going to just benefit literally everyone. Oh, I need to send that for those of you that did not see it. And for the recording, I'm going to share my desktop real quick. Okay. Here was my long and lengthy team boundaries. So I'm gonna copy this and I will send it to our group chat as well for anyone that is not.
So couple questions, Britt, about yours. I read it this morning, but I was driving. How often are you going to be reminding your directs of your boundaries? Like, are you going to post that like monthly?
See, now the part where I struggle is this is usually something that, so basically everyone in Saint utilizes Telegram except us. And this is where they will pin this to their message thread. So it is always at the top. It's the first thing that comes up whenever you open the chat. So it's a constant reminder of this, where we don't have that in Messenger. So I will probably have to, if things start getting out of control again, or if I'm feeling overwhelmed and flooded with a lot of questions and stuff, then I'll resend it.
Hey,
Okay.
I am maybe going to be utilizing Telegram and just kind of doing an experiment with that. Hold on, Jimmy. But um, for like the boundaries and stuff with customers and your artists, if they're your friend too, how are you maintaining boundaries with that? Because I have a couple artists who, I mean, I even just like became friends with because of this process, but like I feel like sometimes I struggle with maintaining the boundary because maybe the door gets opened because of a friendly conversation, but then it turns into saying, do you just like say, hey, we can handle the Saint stuff tomorrow between 8 and 11? Or
I will, that's a super good question, because I am actually not very good at that. I have a lot of, like you said, artists who have become friends. But just trying to, like, a lot of times I utilize Facebook Messenger for business stuff, and I will keep fun stuff on Instagram. So I'll have a lot of conversations going on with, like Jen, and commenting on her stuff, and Carrie commenting on her stuff, and Jess, and whatever. We're having those fun friend conversations over there, but keeping like my Messenger Facebook thread more business wise, because that's where I do all of like my monthly check-ins and stuff.
I love that.
Yeah,
Perfect.
option.
That was
Thanks.
something I had in my notes too about like in your message, it says something about like texting you. And like I'll have girls like when they first signed up, like I have given out my phone number, and maybe that was a mistake. But like if so, like on the weekends, I just don't respond in like the chat if I'm with my family. But then somebody will be like, hey, I didn't see you were in the chat, so I'm just gonna quick text you, like, is this the right color match? And I'm just like, really? Like, thanks.
That's something you need to add to your family boundaries, that color match stays in the color match. You do not personal message me with the color match. I think that's super important. And if, yeah, so Sam said, I have a new artist that texts me. And so it's like, it's fun to have that relationship with people, right? Like when I first started, I was always like super envious of, because Megan and Jackie text all the time, and they're such good friends, and it's like, man, I would love that to have with a lot of my artists. But then you start getting into those really iffy boundaries where things come up and they're texting you at 11 o'clock or early on a Sunday, and that type of thing. So kind of keeping business in like Telegram or in Messenger or whatever, I feel like is kind of the best option.
So I love all of this, Britt. I know I need to do this. This is the part that internally I struggle with, because my team is pretty much all full-time working people. We tell people you can do this in pockets of time. I always feel like I have this like need to respond to them, because I know their time is little that they get to work their business. So how do you get over that? Like, I live in my group chat all day long, and like, I think it was Sam said, it's like a constant like feeding, how do you, and if you don't respond, they are personally messaging me. Jen's not answering them, whatever it is, which is fine, but it's not fine.
Yeah, it's not fine. And that's where you need to respect your own time before you respect their time. And I think by setting family boundaries and having those rules up, it's going to, they're not respecting you and your time. They're expecting you to respond to them when they need it, and that's not okay. You need to, like I said, put up those family boundaries, let them know that that's not okay. You're here for them, you're going to help them, but you also have, to respect each other and fit it in where everyone can work together. Other people in your group chat can be responding. It's not you. Although you're the leader, that doesn't mean that everyone hail Jen. She's the only one that knows how to do stuff. I just put this in my chat as well. I have 45 people in my direct message. 45 brains is way better than one, right? You guys can all come and help me with this. We are a team and we're here to help each other. I'm not there for them. That's a totally, I know, Sam, that feeling is, it's a hard one to get over, and you feel like you do need to be there for them. Like that's, that's why they signed up with you, is because they want to be there with you. They want you to be there for them, but it's still a time respect type thing that you can't be there for every little thing that they need. Yeah, that's what Sam said. That Bonnie, no one is confident in an answer unless it's coming from the top.
Yes.
And you have girls on your team that have been there with you since, that have been doing it just as long, and everyone has just as good, knows just as much stuff, even though maybe they don't feel confident in themselves answering those questions or answering that. It's just maybe the confidence that they need, and the people to start taking that initiative to be like, this is where I'm pretty sure this is the answer, but you can go here to make for sure. So kind of, making sure they know their resources is a huge thing. Instead of asking the question, asking where to find the answer. Anyone else? This is such a hard topic, I know, but it's so important.
Okay, I have a question. So I know I came in late.
Yeah.
What was like the beginning, or what was the message you sent to everybody, or something referring to your boundaries?
Yeah, so I sent my, I'll copy and paste it into the chat. It's pretty long, so I don't know if it'll let me, but nope, it won't. But basically, it's just setting boundaries. So like I have 1, all color matching happens in this group chat only. 2, Saturday and Sunday, I'm with my family. I will not respond to personal messages. 3, if you're running a one-on-one, this is what you have to do. 4, these are my work hours. I can guarantee a response between this and this. And then if it's a complete emergency, I can be text, but there's literally no emergencies in this business. And then just kind of telling them to have your resources, look for the answer before you come here. And then just kind of leaning on that chat and telling them to utilize that more than me.
Okay, and you just sent that to like your directs?
Yeah, I sent that to my direct group chat.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, Bonnie.
Hey, Britt, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So if you send that to your directs, when my team enrolls a new artist, I do friend request them and try to, make that connection and get to know them. But what I found with that is that, which is fine, but they're all coming to me directly. So if you're giving these boundaries to just your directs, how are you funneling their downlines?
Yeah, that's a super good question. So I feel like that's kind of, once you welcome them and say hi, they're like, they feel like they have direct access to you, and that, it floods with more questions. And I feel like that's another thing where you can roll back to if they ask you a question, you'd be like, did you check your resources for that? Did you go here to look for that question? And just kind of keep instilling that. And then, they're going to learn that, it's not, and sending this to, if you have like a team group page, you can send it to that as well. It doesn't have to just be your direct. So people know that, and even when you send it to that group, put in there, go to your direct leader for these questions first. And, instead of coming, and then you can work your way up the ladder. Anyone else have any suggestions on that?
You could even take that question and put it into your group chat and be like, so-and-so had this amazing question. What does everybody else think about this, to kind of show that everyone can help and not just you?
Yeah, I love that. Like saying, you should throw that question in the group chat. I bet everyone would have a really good answer. Something like that. Yeah, I love that, Nicole.
I think I also struggle with, like, especially the newer artists, like they're coming to you as a new artist because they don't know. So it's like, you want to be there for them because they're brand new, and you don't just want to be like, okay, you just started, did you check your resources? Do you know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, you don't want to handhold and then teach them like, okay, anytime you have a question, come to me right away. So that's what I struggle with that fine line. It's more the newer artists that are just starting.
And that's what I had one of my newer artists comment on that. I want to see what she said. So I sent my boundaries and she said, I'm thankful for this message. As a new artist, I didn't know exactly where or who to go to for certain things. So I was kind of clinging to you. This is clarification. So I thought that was kind of a good outlook on it, because I was kind of worried what my new artists would think when they saw that message, like, holy shit, Brittany like doesn't want to help me. I'm glad that she said that, because I feel like that's a good outlook on it. Like you said, they're super lost and they aren't sure, but still building that, personal one-on-one relationship with them and having those monthly check-ins is where you're gonna build that relationship, and going in and talking to them weekly and asking any questions then, that type of thing. If it's not an emergency, be like, yeah, we'll cover this when I check in with you on Friday, type of thing. Teach them off the bat where to go. Yes, having a list of resources for people is super important. Just might have a heart attack.
Can I ask you guys a quick question? How often do you check in with your directs? Other than just being like in the group chat and having like basic conversations, how often do you message them like to have like a quick chat or check-in?
I try to do like 3 times a month. The 1st and like the 15th, and then the last day of the month.
All that. And there's I feel like there's no right or wrong reason, answer. I feel like when someone needs a little bit more help, but for me, I do that the same thing, like first, middle, end of the month.
What about the ones with no pulse though? What about like that? When do you say, I'm checking in, they're not active, there's nothing going on there. When do you continue to check in with them 3 times a month?
No, I usually just do the 1st, ask them what their goals are for the month. If they don't respond back, I focus on the ones that do.
100%. And this is like Andrea too. Andrea and I were working one-on-one, like focusing on her directs and stuff. And she's like, I've messaged some of them 3 times throughout the month for like 2 or 3 months now, and they're not responding. And I've just told her straight out, like, if they're not even, like, if I don't see them in their beauty group or on their personal page or their stories, or they're not even active or $50 on their plate, my time goes into my people that are working their business and my personal business. And that's where it goes back to 80% personal, 20% team. Like, if you're not working it, why should I help you? Sorry, just me.
Sorry, just me. No, I totally agree with that. Like, if someone doesn't respond to me after like a couple months, then I just kind of wash them. I keep an eye on their sales. Maybe one month, they'll get $100 or something, just commenting on that. But
yeah, or just wait. Like, I have girls that, they did well and then they like took a break, but I'm not going to keep checking on them if they're not working it. But when they come back into the business and they want to run again and they reach out to me and they say, I'm ready, I'll work with you. Like, I'll give you my all again, but I want to focus on the girls that are right now working it.
So when it comes to you guys providing like resources for people to be able to check for their own answers, because like a lot of mine, their instinct is to either ask me first or like they post it in our messenger. It's not like they're directly messaging me all the time. But it's because I haven't set boundaries and I'm always there for them. So Britt, your example was you referred to Glow Getter units. Does anybody put together not necessarily a graphic, but like put together like a list for their team of like, if you're wondering about this type of categorical question, this is where I go. These kinds of things, this is where I go. Like when I'm trying to find my own answers, or is that a waste of time?
I don't think that's a waste of time. I have that. I send that to new artists. So, I mean, like all of the more recent ones have it, but I think if that's something you want to put together for your team, I think they would totally appreciate it.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Kind of like a library of information. Finding your message from Back to Belief. If you're showing up every day, they'll gain respect. I'm just reading through the chat here. Okay, anyone else have anything they want to talk about? Chit chat? Any more chit chat?
Or how would you recommend like running a team call if you were to say like, okay, Wednesday night we're gonna do something, but like what could be some sort of like challenge or whatever? Like, would you say you have to complete some task like for this? Like, would you say like you have to complete a task before you're able to do it? But then it's like, okay, then if only, you know, I've done team calls where I get like 10 girls or so that's pretty good. But then if throwing a challenge on top would make that more difficult. And then I feel like, okay, is what I'm providing them, is it worth it even? You know, like
what I feel like anyone on your team who you invite them to, they would be more than, you know, to do something that's showing their like initiative in their business. So I think it's totally up to you. It depends on, you know, how many calls that you're doing too. If, you know, maybe you're going to have a call for your runners and they have to complete a challenge before they can get into that call. And then maybe you just have a call for, you know, your entire team, or they can come and hang out no matter where they're at in their business.
Okay.
Nicole, tell us about your team calls, if you can.
Okay, so I've been doing monthly team calls, and the first one was, in light of better terms, a magic show. It was not good. Like no one was talking. I was the only one talking. So this last one that I did, I had everybody come with 2 ideas to share with the team. So I actually got this idea from Kirby. We make like our monthly posts calendar. And so I challenged everybody to come to the group with 2 ideas to add to that, and it was really good. Everyone was involved and laughing and having fun, and afterwards everyone commented on how good it was. So we do that the last Thursday of every month. We do a team call.
That's awesome.
But I just started doing
yeah.
But
yeah, so it's like a content ideas, like super
yeah. And so then what anyone who couldn't make the call, I'll send them the calendar if they provide ideas before the call. So everyone's busy, so if they can't make it, that's totally fine. But I have been having people add their ideas before the call, so that way everyone is involved and it's not just a certain amount of people giving the information.
I love that. Totally stealing that. And that invites everyone on your team. It's not like you're just focused on, you know, like top performers or, you know, leaders or high sales. You're focusing on everyone needs content. So I think that's super cool. I love it.
Yeah, at that point, if people don't post something every single day, then it's definitely shows that they don't care too much about their. So it's definitely shown the girls who are wanting to work and take the time to work their business too.
Super cool. Good for you guys. That's awesome.
Nicole, is it just your directs or do you do everybody?
My team isn't that big, so I open it up to everybody. Anyone who wants to join. And I usually get like, I think the last one we had like 8 or 10 girls, and they kind of come in and out too. But we do like 8:30 at night because most of them have kids, and then by then they're usually in bed. And I feel like I can get a lot more ladies in the group at that time of night.
Love
Does anybody else do team calls?
it. I don't.
We do them, yeah. Virginia and I, we do team calls with them. We try to get them done like at least once a month. And we'll just kind of, usually a lot of it's based on like on content or things like for the team that we can do, or we did like some turnkey stuff after convention. I just, you know, we kind of look at that back office and just take a look and say like, what do they really need? What are they struggling with? And then it goes from there. Participation varies. It's always hard to find that right time and day for everybody. Virginia's better with me than taking notes, so we usually post them up on our page, like so that everybody can kind of take a look at what the call was about. But yeah, I mean, I think we have some stuff I could always share, like some PowerPoints and things like that we put together and stuff. I don't know. We've tried the WAMs. Same thing. We'll give them like the homework, like come to the next meeting with your chart. You know, where do you stand? Where do you need to rank advance? Come with your goals. Not all of them do though. I like this podcast one though. I think this might be a good idea. Is like to have them listen to something like this. Like if I can pinpoint the right one that I feel like would really help them with like that growth, and then maybe make it like homework. In order to get the link, you have to do this. Kind of maybe like FOMO, like they feel like they have to do it or they're missing out. I don't know.
And then you really know who wants to run in their business, you know. If you give someone an assignment and they do it, then you know you can spend your time and your energy on them. And if they don't, you know. Woohoo! Anyone else? Anyone else need to spill their guts? Anything good, bad, ugly, questionable? Good? All right. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate
Thank you
all
for
of
this,
you.
Britt.
You are so welcome. I know Zoom calls are so not everyone's forte, but I appreciate you guys being here. So bye guys.